Before there was a country, there was a land vast, free, and alive. For thousands of years, this continent was home to countless peoples. They were astronomers, artists, farmers, and philosophers who knew this land intimately. They honored the earth that sustained them, the rivers that gave life, and the spirits that shaped their world. Their stories were whispered on the wind and painted on cavern walls, a tapestry of cultures woven into the very fabric of the landscape. They thrived in complex societies, their lives guided by the rhythms of the seasons and a deep connection to the cosmos. This wasn't an empty wilderness, it was a vibrant, inhabited world, a mosaic of nations long before the idea of America was ever conceived. Then, from across the Great Sea came dreamers, explorers, and fortune seekers. Wooden ships, small and fragile against the immense ocean, carried them to new shores. They sought religious freedom, economic opportunity, and a fresh start in what they called the New World. Their arrival marked a profound turning point. At first, there was curiosity and trade exchanges of knowledge, tools, and traditions. But soon, these encounters gave way to conflict. Two vastly different worlds collided on the same land, leading to misunderstanding, displacement, and immense loss. For the original inhabitants, this new beginning was the start of an era of unprecedented struggle, as their way of life was forever altered by the relentless tide of newcomers. Along the Atlantic coast, 13 colonies began to take root and grow. They were a patchwork of different cultures, beliefs, and ambitions, each a unique experiment in building a new society. In bustling colonial villages, the sounds of life filled the air, the ring of a blacksmith's hammer, the chatter of a town meeting, the quiet scratch of a quill on parchment. Farmers worked the land, merchants filled the ports, and families gathered around hearths, sharing stories of hardship and hope. Though they came from different backgrounds, they were united by a powerful, shared dream to build a life on their own terms, free from the old hierarchies of Europe. It was here, in these humble beginnings, that the seeds of a new identity began to sprout. By 1776, that quiet dream had ignited into a revolutionary fire. The desire for self-governance erupted into a bold declaration of independence. Farmers left their plows to become soldiers, and merchants risked everything for the cause of liberty. 13 disparate colonies banded together, transforming into states united against a common foe. Through the smoke of battlefields and the sacrifice of many, a new nation was born. The idea that all are created equal and endowed with inalienable rights was written into history, a promise to the world. With fireworks illuminating the new flag, a fragile republic emerged, founded on the radical principle that power should belong to the people. But the nation's founding promise was incomplete. The dream of freedom did not extend to all. The institution of slavery was a deep and tragic contradiction at the heart of the republic, tearing the nation's conscience apart. As the country expanded westward, powered by steam trains crossing vast plains, the divide over slavery deepened. Brother prepared to fight brother, and the very foundation of the Union began to crack. Abraham Lincoln, standing before a nation on the brink, called for a new birth of freedom. But that rebirth would come at a terrible price, paid in the blood and sorrow of a brutal civil war that would ultimately redefine the meaning of freedom in America. In the aftermath of war, the difficult work of rebuilding a shattered nation began. From the ashes of ruined cities and devastated landscapes, a new chapter unfolded. Newly freed families, with nothing but hope and the clothes on their backs, walked dusty roads toward an uncertain future. Simultaneously, a great wave of immigration began. Millions arrived from every corner of the earth, seeking refuge and opportunity. They came from Ireland, Italy, China, and Eastern Europe, crowding into bustling cities and finding work in the glowing factories that powered a new industrial age. Each group brought their unique stories, their struggles, and their songs, adding new threads to the ever-changing American tapestry. The new century roared to life with unprecedented change. The rhythm of the nation quickened with the pulse of jazz clubs, the rumble of early automobiles on city streets, and the hum of new machines. America's spirit was tested, first by the economic despair of the Great Depression and then by the global conflict of World War II, an entire generation rose to the challenge. Men and women from all walks of life, from Rosie the Riveter in the factories to the soldiers on distant shores, united with a common purpose. Through it all, the American people endured, their resilience forged by grit, grace, and an unwavering belief in a better tomorrow. The 1960s ushered in an era of profound social upheaval, a time when long-silenced voices rose to demand change. On the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, Martin Luther King Jr. shared his dream of an equal nation. Marches and protests filled the streets as people shouted for civil rights, for peace, and for an end to injustice. It was a turbulent, transformative decade that forced America to look in the mirror and confront its unfulfilled promises. From the women's liberation movement to the counterculture's call for peace, these voices challenged the status quo. Their collective courage pushed the nation forward, expanding the definition of we the people, taking humanity's giant leap to the moon. As the decades passed, the American people grew more diverse, more connected, and more tested than ever before. A technological revolution powered by computers and cell phones shrank the world, while multicultural classrooms and neighborhoods reflected a nation of nations. The American identity became a vibrant mosaic of cultures, languages, and traditions. But this journey was not without its moments of profound sorrow. The tragedy of 9/11 tested the nation's spirit, but in the face of darkness, heroes emerged and communities came together. Through both triumph and tragedy, Americans discovered again and again that their greatest strength has always been found not in their differences, but in their unity. Today, the story of America continues. It is a story that is still being written, not by a single author, but by the hands of over 330 million people. It is the story of children and elders, artists and scientists, farmers and soldiers, each contributing their own verse to the great American epic. From many, Veni pluribus unum, this is America. A nation still imperfect, still striving to live up to its highest ideals, and for so many, still a place to call home. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you found this story meaningful, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content that explores our shared history.